All right. I am here today to tell you what is up. So, definitely welcome in Tales from the Road back in the saddle. We're doing a group recording. I don't know how this is going to work if people can jump in, but we're going to try to get old tadpole on here. And we're going to talk tonight about some spooky stuff. It is Monday, the 23rd of February, but it's actually Tuesday, but if you're in Central Time, like I am, if you're on the Eastern Seaboard, it is Tuesday, the 24th of February. So we're trying to get people back on the app, and it's going to take a minute. So just give me 1 second. Okay. So what's up, Mike?
What's up? What's up?
So this is going to be a more cleaner version. It's not live. Okay. So we're not live right now. We're not live. We are
Okay, cool.
actually on a recording. So I could pause the recording at any time. We could be sneaky, right? And nobody
Okay.
would know. And nobody would know because we're sneakers, you know?
Okay.
So anyways, this is just a recording. It's a better version. It's the way I maybe should have done it to begin with. Did you use the link or did you use the invite or whatever? How did you get in?
I clicked on that last link you sent me,
Awesome.
and it brought me
So this
straight.
is a recording. It sounds way better too, does it not?
It does a lot clearer.
And I don't. And if you start to screw up and you lose signal, I can just pause it, right? And then we can just wait till you get back. That's the cool thing about this recording. I didn't remember. I've had to do some adjusting. Anyways, like I said, it's Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you are in the country. The 24th of February. It's around midnight, spooky time, and we're gonna be doing the podcast different. Tadpole is on live, back in action, which is a really good thing. Volunteer firefighter, about to have a kid on the way. I see you got a kid coming.
That's right.
Named
3
Sky
weeks.
Rizzy. So, uh-huh. What did she say about that?
She started laughing. She's like, "I hate you and Rob so much."
Yeah, because Sky Rizzy is such a good name, though, is it not?
It is an awesome name. I would definitely name
Sky
all my kids Rizzy,
Rizzy. Yeah, you know what I mean?
and the next
All
one's
right.
gonna be Rizzy Sky.
So we're gonna be doing some tales tonight. I got some new tales that I got in or whatever, and I'm gonna be basically getting these are emails and stuff like that I've been compiling, and some stuff from Reddit or whatever, and we could just digress it, discuss with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a good time tonight. We can go through it. I told everybody about the Skinwalker that I supposedly saw. A lot of people on TikTok thought your guy on the road at TikTok, by the way. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's a shadow. It's this. It's that." They were doing some discussions. Obviously, because I took a break from TikTok, I don't have thousands of views, so it's like the pool is really small with that. But I think I saw a Skinwalker. If you look on Tales from the Road Media Group, you're part of that, right? On the Facebook.
Uh,
Yep, in the Skinwalkers there. We're going to be putting a lot of media in there. So most of the stuff that we do, I'm going to start putting a lot of media in there. So guys, if you see this podcast later, when you hear it on Spotify, iHeart, I mean, we're everywhere, right? Make sure that you guys check out Tales from the Road Media Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, go on TikTok, you're on the road. All right, because we're not doing the Tales from the Road Instagram and crap. I'm just going to keep it simple. Your guy on the road or whatever. So the Tales from the Road Media Facebook group. All right, so you ready to just dive right in, my friend?
oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So this was from 5 years ago. Okay, 5 years ago. All right. Now we're going to go through it and we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what happens. And by the way, guys, if you have something that you need to tell us, you can hit me at yourguyontheroad@gmail.com or Tales from the Road Media Group at gmail.com. Make sure our Tales from the Road Media at gmail.com. Make sure you email us your tales and we can go through them like we are right now. All right. Not a truck driver, but once I was driving through the Canadian Rockies late at night and I had just passed through a small town. So I'm driving through the pitch black and I need to stop and pee and have a smoke. But because it's so dark, I missed the last rest stop for a while. No problem. The highway is completely deserted. So I pull onto the side of the road. I have to pee while staring out into the dark. It's kind of nice. It's ambient and it's quiet. I'm not really scared, and it's a good atmosphere. So I then light up a cigarette and stand by my car after I'm done using the restroom. As I'm standing there, I see a figure of a man in the middle of nowhere, mind you, just walking out of the tree line. I am
Hmm.
miles from civilization. Patchy cell service, and there isn't even a soul on the road. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Maybe it was a deer, but nope, this was a man. So calmly, I walk back to the driver's door and I get in, locking the doors behind me. I am keeping my eye on this guy, but nervously smoke and have my car and drive ready to peel out of there. But for some reason, unbeknownst to me, uncontrollably, I just stayed put. This guy walks right up to my passenger door and knocks on the window. Well, I was young and dumb back then, so I cracked the window and asked, "What's up?" Ah, he replies to me in a very serious tone, "I need you to call the cops." I cautiously ask why. He tells me he had gone out into the woods to kill himself and couldn't go through it. So this guy was going to kill himself, and he said he was going to go kill himself in the woods, but he couldn't go through with it because he had thought of his daughters right before he was about to do it. And I called the cops while the guy cries outside. He had a kitchen knife that he was going to use on himself, so I stayed in the car and advised him to maybe leave the knife on the ground before the cops arrived. And the cops came and got him, but before they left with him, I gave him a solid heart to heart, wished him well, and I still think about him, and I really hope he was able to turn things around. This comes from Juicy Potato from 5 years ago. Now, what are your thoughts on that? It almost reminds me of the Ranger Rick scenario, except for not anything like that, right?
Yeah, that's where I thought you was going with it. I thought it was going to be some creepy spirit or something, and it turned out to be an actual person in need of help. That's a different twist to a story right there.
Yeah, and nobody would have ever guessed that. And you see a guy, so see, like a lot of us are like on the side of the road, and we see somebody walk out of the tree line in the middle of nowhere. We're talking, let's say that there's really nothing around there, and most people would have panicked and drove off. And it's really weird how sometimes, like you heard the story, he wanted to leave, but he couldn't for some reason. It was almost like something made him stay. And if that guy would have just peeled out of there, what would have happened? I mean, this guy would have probably killed himself. And
All
how
right.
many times as a truck driver, you're a truck driver now as well as a volunteer firefighter, how many times do you see people commit suicide with trucks? They just jump in front of them and stuff. So for all we know, this guy might have jumped from a truck later. You know what I mean?
Seen a lot of them, honestly. It's unsettling and sad, but it's part of it now.
So what would you have done if so my Ranger Rick story, we all know if you guys go to episode 1, Ranger Rick is about an apparition or whatever. I don't really know. Never said it was an apparition, but it appeared to me in the roads of Pennsylvania. Now that was a guy in a uniform and all that, just walked off into the woods, never said one word. But imagine seeing this guy come out of the woods with a knife, you know, and
Hmm.
you're sitting there smoking a cigarette, using the restroom, and there he is. I mean, a lot of us would have just got out of there, you know?
I would have been curious. I would have been watching, but I honestly don't know what I would have done. I knew one thing. I would have been curious because I'm always a curious person, so I would have known what he was doing, what it was. Soon as if he started walking weird, arched over and bent over backwards and started sculling toward me, we want to exercise him. But
And I hate
I
to make
mean,
light of this situation, but it's almost like the guy had a supernatural piss because the guy would have stopped to pee on the side of the road right there at that moment. Who knows what would have happened to this guy, man? I mean, I just don't know. That was a pretty weird thing to have to pull over right there, right?
yeah,
Um,
and the fact that you've seen it, like, just imagine if he wouldn't have got back in your car. What if he would have been crazy and tried to kill you?
or just vice versa. A lot of people on the Reddit were saying, yeah, now imagine how many people need help, but no one stops. Cumis says God works in mysterious ways. I had random meth head stumble on me and I ran before walking about in my car. But the thing is people don't stop for people and helping you. And I don't blame them because I talked about this on the last podcast a couple days ago when I made one. And I literally were talking about the I-5 killer and stuff and how he would stop people and he would rob them and shoot them with that 32 caliber gun. And, people just don't stop and help. But if this guy would have not stopped for this guy, I mean, this guy would have killed himself. So I hope it all worked out in the end. I hope that, you know, I hope he made it. I just I hope he made it. That's all I say, that's just pretty much all I can hope for. What are your in thoughts on that story from Potato?
I think that people need to be more considerate because you never know what somebody's going through, and you may be that little bit of light and help that they need just to make it through the rest of the day. And that little bit to make them help them get through the rest of the day can help them get through the rest of the week, and so on and so forth.
Right. So make sure that you guys take a second look at the situation. If you see somebody, maybe not just run away but I mean, I'm not saying keep your guard up. We do live in a world where evil just runs free. There's no hiding. I mean, evil doesn't care anymore. In my opinion, it's just, whatever. All right. So we got another tale from the road. Come from Emilio 56556 from 5 years ago. Remember, guys, this is stories that I've compiled or whatever, but hit us up on Tales from the Road at gmail.com. Hit us up from, I'm pretty sure it's Tales from the Road Media. Let me get that right, exactly right now. You still hear me though, right?
I still hear you.
Yeah, cool. I just want to make sure I can do three little things real quick. That Tales from the Road email is definitely Tales from the Road Media at gmail.com. Tales
Right.
from the Road Media at gmail.com. You can also hit me up on your guy on the road at gmail.com as well. And you can tell me your tales and I'll read them and we'll go through them and we'll talk about them. Okay. I pull into Purdue plant, which we all know is a chicken plant. This is a
Mm-hmm.
truck driver. Okay. I drop my empty trailer and go park where they allow bobtails to sit right next to a little pond. My pickup was in 12 hours. So I do my PTI, which for the layman term is a pre-trip or post-trip, and I lay down in the bunk. At about 3 a.m., I hear something tapping on my passenger side door. I get up to look, expecting to see someone, maybe a driver asking for help, maybe a lumper, check, but there's no one there. And there's no one around me in this parking lot. It's really dark. And the Purdue plant is sitting off to the distance where I'm in this side lot. But there's no one around me. Something's knocking on my door. At about 5 more minutes, I hear another knock. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm hearing things. So I go back to lay down. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I hear the tapping again, except for this time it's on my driver's side door. So I'm thinking, huh, okay. Same thing as before. I jump up and look out my window, but there's nothing there. I double lock my doors just in case. And I open my side hatches so I can hear what's going on outside, which I don't think I would have done that. The side hatches, I wouldn't have opened that lug box door. He basically is talking about he opened his windows on the side. I don't think I'd have done that. What do you think about that?
I
So,
wouldn't have done that.
no. So about 15 minutes, I hear a very light splat, splat, splat going along the driver's side of the truck. So I slowly get up, planning to look out my window. At the exact moment, whoever it was that knocks on my door, I hear a loud thud coming from the roof of the cab. Sound familiar?
The knocker.
Sounds like the knocker, right? I've had this happen before. But anyways, I stop and grab my tire thumper off its hook, ready myself for whatever the hell is going on. Then a motherfucking goose falls off the top of my truck and lands on my hood. It stands up and waddles back and forth and look at me. As we make contact, the tapping on my door starts again. I say, screw it. I threw open the door. Here's another goose honking like a 5-year-old. And the pond that I parked next to, it had a whole bunch of them. So there again, it's not always scary, but your mind, when you're in these trucks, man, your mind can play so many tricks on you. Like, um, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, did your mind play tricks on you when you were OTR? Do you ever hear like that knocker that happened to me? I never saw a bird. I never saw it, and my truck was shaking. Okay, and those people had got killed there, before. But I'm a little touched, I think. But at the end of the day, what do you think about this? Like, what would you have done with all this knocking and splatting? And he still doesn't explain what the splats were on the truck. Like, what were the splats, man? What does that sound
That damn duck was taking a shit.
like?
He was hearing it hit the roof.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to think like you're out there, you're hearing these taps, and I guess it was the whatchamacallit just trying to get in or mess with the window or whatever. But see what I'm saying? The road plays so many tricks with you, man. It can play so many tricks with your mind. I don't know. I just know that out here it's not always the worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, that's like the knocker. If you guys listen to our season, that knocker episode, it's in our Tales from the Road. That happened and it was terrifying. And my truck shook. There was knocking, there was this, there was that, there was knocking on my ceiling. My truck was shaking back and forth. I mean, that kind of stuff right there that happens to me, my actual Tales from the Road, that's terrifying stuff. And at the end of the day, this almost resonated with me when I read this first because I just knew this guy was going to have kind of the same story because I don't know if anybody's ever had that. I mean, have you ever experienced something like knocking all over your cab? Because it's something that happens to a lot of drivers, Miles.
I've heard it coming from the back between the reefer and the sleeper, but I always just thought, maybe it was the airlines, where the truck was rocking
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
air.
knocking against it.
So I never thought nothing of it. But like you said, we're out here on the road. We're alone, a lot of our life, and you start getting in these weird places where there's like one or two trucks there, or you're the only one out there. You start hearing stuff that's not there, and you start wondering.
Well, I'll tell you a tale from the road that happened to
Mm-hmm.
me recently, a couple of nights ago. I pulled into Liberal, Kansas to I needed some stuff from Walmart. I'd never been there. By the way, Liberal, Kansas, huge Walmart, gigantic Walmart. I mean, the biggest Walmart I think I've ever seen in my life, except for a couple. It's a super center, but it's one of those super, super centers where the deli's across the whole other side of the store. It's separate from the bakery. I mean, they've got everything you could imagine in Liberal, Kansas. You name it, they've got it. They've got surround sound to strollers to vacuum stuff that you never find at Walmart that's never there. They've got everything there, dude. It's like the biggest Walmart I've ever seen in my. It almost looks like a Sam's Club. So as I'm in Walmart, I also know that I have to drive and take a 3 hour nap eventually, so I can literally flip my clock over because what I'm gonna do is get a 10-hour break. But I was driving on ag exempt, and I knew that I could still keep driving, but I needed 3 hours, and I would get a full 10-hour break from the ag exempt. So what I did was I knew I was going to go to Walmart, I was going to shop or whatever, and then what I was going to do was take a 4 or 3 hour nap right there at the Walmart. You can actually park there. They have designated truck parking, kind of like Denver. And I was going to actually go to sleep and take an actual break. And so I'm like, yeah. So I shop, I get all my shopping done and everything. So I literally go to leave. Right now, I get there, it's like 6 o'clock. When I get out of Walmart, no, 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 no. I get there, it's like, I want to say nine because they close at 11, right? Well, I get there and it's like 9 o'clock. And when I get out, it's like 10:30, 11, right when they were about to close. Because I got some extra stuff. Like instead of getting the normal things, I got chili and stuff like that. So I'm sitting there and I'm walking to my truck. Okay. And I'm setting the
Uh-huh.
tone. It's cold. It's dark. At the time when I pulled in, there was a bunch of cattle haulers. There was a bunch of truckers. There were several people out there in the truck area. But as I'm literally going to my truck, there's no one there at this time. There's no one there. So it's just me and like two other trucks and me and my groceries. So I noticed that there was this guy in the corner of the Walmart. So let me play this out. So the Walmart literally has a big L when you go in. And so you drive in, there's this big square for truckers, and you walk around the building, and then there's your Walmart where you can go inside and get your groceries and all that stuff. And so when I came out, I came in that L, and there's two trucks there now, and there's these big old Jersey things where you can back up. And this guy standing outside what I thought was his truck. And he's literally standing there just watching me, just looking at me. I noticed him out of the corner of my eye. And he's got one of those He's got one of those weird hats, like those like hats that have the stuff on each side or whatever. Like I can't explain it. They got like two little like fur on each side, like one of those little caps that go left or right or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so he's just cool. I'm thinking, okay, that's a fellow trucker. So I'm walking in my truck, I get all my crap put up, and I got my eye on him. Well, when I get all my stuff pulled up, I pull Nugget out, and I'm gonna walk her. And he starts walking behind me. And he starts kind of following me to this open field that's in front of the Walmart. And if you guys want, email me at actually, you know what? I'm just going to put it on Tales from the Road Facebook media group. I'm going to put the pictures of the field so you guys can see the field because I actually took pictures of this. So it's going to be on Tales from the Road media Facebook group. So, anyways, I'm literally walking to this field. This guy's following me. He's looking at me. Well, Nugget is on his ass. Okay. Nugget ain't playing that. So he starts looking at me. He stops in the middle of this parking lot. And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. I'm like, hey, man, can I help you? And he just turns around and walks away and then stops in the middle of the parking lot and turns around again, just staring at me. Now I'm like, okay, this guy's a weirdo. And then he starts backing up, dude, walking backwards, just walking backwards, straight back. And so I'm thinking, what is going on with this guy? So he goes, he walks to the back, he backwards walks to the truck that I assumed was his. He goes in between the truck and the other trailer that was dropped there. There was a cattle hauler trailer that was dropped there, and he
Uh-huh.
just squats down, and like in his hands are like on the ground, like he's acting like a monkey or something. Like he's got his hands on the ground and he's just swaying back and forth while he's squatted on the ground. So at this point, you know, I got to go back to my truck. Now, my truck's to the right of his truck if I'm facing him. I start walking to my truck. He stands up. I start walking a little closer, like not, he starts walking towards my truck. Well, at this point, Nugget's flipping out. She's starting to kind of, I don't have a violent dog, but my dog's kind of, growling and stuff. And so I yell at the guy. I'm like, hey, dude, I don't know what your problem is, but you need to back up. Well, he literally looks at me again and starts doing his head left and right like he's a fucking weirdo, bro. And I'm gonna drop my gun at this point because I don't know if you guys know this, but your guy on the road's armed, okay? And I'm armed spiritually, but I'm also armed with a man-made weapon. So I'm fixing to draw my damn pistol out on this guy because I'm not playing no games with this dude. So as soon as I start to, put my hand near my pocket, this guy literally does that backwards walk again, and he walks into his truck backwards into the cab because his door was open and shuts the door. And then he just slinks down on the floor and then the curtain's shut. Oh my God, it was creepy, dude. I just got in my truck and locked my doors and shut my curtains too. I don't know. That was the end of the story. When I woke up in 3 hours, his truck was gone. So I checked my
Mhm.
fifth wheel handle and all that. Nothing was wrong. But I mean, that is creepy. That's just like, what was that all about?
What if he's got some air tags on your truck and he's tracking your ass? Oh God.
Well, he can. You'll see what I do. But I'm just saying, what would you do if you see this dude backwards walking, swaying, squat? I mean, do you just say, hey, what do you do? I mean, I'm trying to talk to the guy, but he's not talking to me. Like, tell me your entire thought. I'm going to mute my stuff and let you talk. Let you have the floor. Like, what's your thoughts on this? Is this guy crazy? Is he just messing with me?
I would have I would have thought, he was off his fucking rocker. His cornbread wasn't done in the middle. Man, my second thought been like, is he possessed or something? Because he ain't acting like any damn person I've ever known. I would have had my hand on my pistol too, because I carry also. I'm not gonna go without that man-made weapon out here.
Well, I've never seen anybody backwards walk into their truck. His door was open, right? But he backwards walked up the stairs into his truck. It was creepy, man. And the squat and shit, like maybe he was on drugs. I mean, I won't lie, and I'm not talking shit about people in Kansas, but I do see a lot of people with missing teeth from meth. You can tell it's meth because of the blackness in their mouth, and I'm not ragging on anybody. It is what it is. You did drug, hey, you got a job, you're doing good, but I do see the drug use at previous life or whatever. But I do see it. Maybe he was on drugs. I don't know. I know in Pratt, Kansas, they have a very nice Walmart there, and some of those people are afflicted with that same thing, but I don't think they're bad people. I just think that they made poor choices and they made better choices later. We all make poor choices, okay? you say you've never done something stupid, then you're not a human being. You know what I mean?
Right. Have you
Um,
seen that movie, The Crazies?
the crazies. Why does that sound so familiar?
The plane crashed into the river, and that was the city's main source of drinking water.
Oh yeah, and all that stuff got in there. Yeah,
Yeah, that
they
went
started drinking
nuts.
the water. Yeah, dude, I've seen that movie. That movie's trippy, dude.
That's what I was thinking about when you said that. What if he was
Drinking the water.
going? Yeah, there's a water, and he was going crazy.
I don't know, bro. That's kind of
Mm.
yeah, it might make sense. Do you have any recent tales from the road? Like any tales that you've seen as a volunteer? If I mean, any creepy? Because I mean, my dad was a police officer. He told me some creepy stuff. Like I'm not talking about. We're not talking about. I mean, creepy, like metaphysical, ghosts, spirits, UFOs, Bigfoot, creepy guys that squat, maybe possessed. Anything to add for this week?
um, this is a little short story. We pulled up on this. We got a toned out for this guy who was having a possible diabetic episode, and we pulled up to his house, and there's no power on this guy's house. This guy's sleeping in a bedroom with the door closed with a little tiny little old school one brick propane heater. And we're trying to wake him up, and he's just shaking and shivering. I check his sugar, and the sugar's sitting over 400. And we're sitting there shaking. And so we touch his head. And when we touch his head, he arches his back and screams, blood curdling scream. Well, the fucking heater went out, and our lights didn't want to work in the damn room. We had little flashlights and stuff on. They started flickering, and my hair stood up. So I went outside to the truck, and the truck wasn't running either, dude. It was creepy. All the lights were off, and we always do the trucks running, the lights running for safety and all that. The truck was off, the ignition was still on, but nothing was coming on the dash. And it was creepy because as soon as I stepped off to the property to bring the ambulance in, I felt instantly at ease. I don't know, there's something about that property. It was dark and disturbing. That property definitely needed Jesus.
What what state, what part? Like, give me the whole like layout. Like where, what county? Like you don't give
Oh,
me the address. Don't give me the physical address, but tell me like where exactly. You know what I mean?
it was in the backwoods of Tuscaloosa County.
Alabama.
Yeah, way down yonder in Alabama. It was back in the backwoods, probably about 20 minutes from my main road. It took us 25 minutes just to get to him
And so
because he
you
was so
get
far
there and
there.
all the lights are off and you go in, you make contact somehow, you get through all the rigmarole, you call it all in, now you're in the house. And then the
Mm-hmm.
guy's shaking and you think he's having some kind of seizure. And you touch him and he arcs everything, all the power cuts out, like all the lights, all the flashlights and
What?
trucks.
What? He didn't have power. He didn't even
No,
have
but I mean the
power.
power on your flashlights and your torch
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah. Everything went out after I went outside. I'm like, oh my
What did the
god, why not
scream sound like? Did it sound like
a whale? Like like when have you ever seen the movie A Law Llorona with the lady in white? When she screams, it's kind of what it sounds like.
like a high pitched curdling or just like a
Yeah,
demonic growl?
like a demonic, a lost soul. That's
God.
yeah. It was like a whale almost, and it freaked all of us out. Like I'm getting chills talking about it now, almost like your little Skinwalker guy on the damn roof story.
And that
Uh,
skinwalker and that skin look, those pictures. And if you ever get some pictures or some evidence, you could upload them as well to Tales from the Road Media Group, Facebook group, man. If you ever without we don't want to victims and stuff, be careful, but you know what I'm talking about. If you see
yeah.
something creepy, go ahead and upload it, man. Like if you guys have anybody can join that Tales from the Road Media Facebook group. Everybody has Facebook. I don't care if you're young or old, and you can join the group. It's fun. You can post stuff, whatever. But long story short, yeah, that's really creepy, especially like the flashlight, because a lot of times demonic or evil or ghosts or whatever. I mean, like that stuff draws energy from lights, and the fact that your truck wasn't running. Like, did you think somebody turned the truck off or the key's still on? Was it like a vandal or
Well, the ignition switch is still on. The light switched on to have all the emergency lights.
we lost him? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break. My pop. Okay, we lost you
For
for a
some reason,
second.
it flipped.
Yeah, the ignition was on.
It flipped. The ignition was on. The emergency light switch was on, but the truck wasn't running. Like we tried starting up, and it's like the batteries are completely dead. The same thing was starting to
What
happen with the
now?
ambulance. It was flickering.
Did you guys get him transported or?
We did. We wheeled him to the end of the driveway because it was just rough on the ambulance because the ambulance
When
is
you got
stopped
out of the
low
house, was it better, or when you got off the property?
off the property. But once we got him off the property, everything was okay. It's like something was in him.
Flicked in them. That's gross.
Uh,
Ooh.
I had the guy that I was working with. He don't believe in God, and he said after that he got back to the station, he was going to say a big prayer because something didn't feel right with his soul.
Yeah, see, that's creepy, man. I got one last tale. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. These are, when we do these podcasts, we're going to keep them at 30, 35. We're not going to go the full hour. These are different the way we're doing these so people can be entertained and then listen to them as they go on the road, you know? So this is the last tale I got for us for tonight. Okay. And we're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. Then we'll end it up. Trucker here, truck driver. This is from a deleted user on Reddit. I don't know who it is, but credit to this person if they hear it later. Truck driver here. I think the best creepy thing that ever happened to me was I was heading from Tucson, Arizona into Salt Lake City, Utah. Well, this was a few years ago, and the main highway had been taken out in a flash flood. It was under construction, so I had to take a weird detour through the mountains in lower Utah. Well, it was getting late, and I was getting tired, so I pulled off on the shoulder and went to sleep in my bunk. Now, this was in the middle of nowhere. Closest town was like 40 miles away. So it is completely pitch black outside once I turn the lights off. Anyway, around 4 a.m., maybe 3 a.m., I wake up because I'm hearing something messing with my truck, like playing with the air and power cables between my cab and the trailer. Sound familiar, Miles?
Uh-huh.
Which is literally 6 inches from where my head's at, but still on the outside of the cab. Then I feel something climb onto the landing that's on the back of my truck and it shakes the whole truck. So I'm guessing there's something around 200 to 300 pounds climbing around back there. And I'm thinking a mountain lion or a bear. So at this point, I'm effing wide awake and I want to get this thing away from me. So I slam my hand on my cab wall, trying to scare whatever it is out of there. I slam hard enough to make it really loud. If you ever driven a truck, you know when you bang on the back of that thing, it is loud. Then that's when I hear it. And it makes me think and scares me at the same time. I hear it. I hear a male scream bloody murder, scream to the top of his lungs like he was being pierced in the chest with a hot iron. I hear them fall off the back of my truck. And then I hear about 15 other people yelling and running and climbing up the front. I turn my lights on and I illuminate a squad of Army reserves. They're doing their midnight truck marks and capture drills. Turns out these guys were supposed to go find an abandoned truck and secure it for their midnight drills. No shit. That truck was 3 miles back down the road, and they were not expecting me to be sleeping there. I was so scared shitless when I see these people in camo. I thought it was a cult. I thought it was part of a drill. So I'm ex-military, so after explaining I was not part of their test, it was shit. It was just out of their coincidence. They all laughed. They had radio their CO and tell them I was there and leave the other squads behind. Imagine look at the horror when they saw somebody in this abandoned truck, or vice versa. Imagine being a truck driver, bro, and you turn on the lights and there's like 15 people. I mean, what would you think?
First thing that pops in my head is when the lights cut on, is when damn SpongeBob had that damn pencil over his head and his tongue was going on doing. I
Well,
can see
I
the
mean,
damn army doing that shit.
imagine being the army guy and you're thinking, all right, I got the truck. Oh my God, there's somebody in there. Or imagine, okay, it's homeless. Or imagine being the truck driver, which I don't know how legit the story is, but maybe it's true. Well, here's the reason. Why is it not? I mean, an abandoned truck for the military is going to be a piece of shit. This is obviously a used truck. It's in use. And I mean, who leaves their truck off? I know people turn their truck off and don't idle, but I idle all night long. But at the end of the day, if
Mm-hmm.
the story is true, and you turn on, you hear 15 people screaming, you hear people running around your truck, you hear all this crazy shit, and then you turn on the lights and it's a pile of dudes, and I mean, you're thinking you're about to die. I'm thinking hills have eyes.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yeah, I'll be the same way. My heartbeat thudding out of my chest. I don't know what's going on. I'm not
Well,
like
I mean, I'm thinking like the Colt's gonna get me, but that's all for tonight. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Next time, the next show we have could be soon or whatever. It's gonna be once a week minimum, but I will tell you that there's some dark stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about skinwalkers, wendigos. I like to bring up some Mothman stuff, and I also have some stories out of New Mexico of dogmen, and I like to read those on the air and see what you think about those. Maybe you can get some stories too. We can some compile some, and we could go through that. Any thoughts or anything you'd like to say before we go on ahead and call it a day?
Just stay vigilant and pay attention to your surroundings because you never know what's out here and evil's doing its best to take over.
And remember, guys, just like X Files, it's not a game. The truth is out there. Make sure you
Yes,
guys
man.
are looking at the sky. Make sure when you're driving, you're looking down at the road. There are things out there that wander the world. There's dark evil and energy that roams the lands. And the more we populate this earth and the more we keep building, the more it's going to be where there's going to be these things conglomerating in areas that they don't have no more room, or wild animals as well. Well, that's all for me tonight. I hope you guys had a great time listening to this podcast. Hit me up at your guy on the road at gmail.com or tales from the road media at gmail.com. Check out the Facebook group, Tales from the Media Facebook group on Facebook. Until next time, survive and stay alive. This has been Tad Polin, your guy on the road, saying peace.
Peace out.